Since the NFL has went and expanded the playoff bracket to 7 teams on each side, there has been no 7th seed that's been able to go into a number 2 seed and defeat them. Why not Pittsburgh? Why not now? Why not this season inside this playoffs? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about the Steelers going into Buffalo and what they need to do to be successful. The Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in a tough spot. No 7th seed has been able to win. They are 0-6 since the playoffs have expanded. So why not now for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why could they be the team to get this ball rolling for the 7th seeds? Why could they be the team that gets this thing started? And I think it's possible. I think the Steelers have an excellent shot, especially in nasty weather. And what can the Steelers do to be successful? There's the obvious ones. Control the run. Time of possession. Run the football well with Najee and Jalen. Be aggressive with Mason Rudolph. But what are the things systematically that the Steelers could do in order to control guys like Josh Allen, in order to put up points in nasty weather? There's several things that I think the Steelers can do. Let's start out with the defensive side of the football, guys. And you're looking at all these safeties coming back now. KZ, Minka, you had Patrick Peterson able to play that safety spot. You have Eric Rowe, a practice squad guy that has been performing out of his mind and doing so well. 1 pick, 1 forced fumble. A guy causing turnovers. A guy that has been hungry out there and providing excellent play for the Steelers. So why not continue to utilize him? Joey Porter Jr. is going to be able to lock down Stephon Diggs on that outside. He is going to create a bad day for that guy, especially in bad weather. That guy's not going to have a ton of yards. He's not going to have a ton of touchdowns. He's not going to be the one to beat you. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to come out with enough fire and enough ability to keep that bottle closed. I think that will be a big key for the Steelers defense, but I think Joey Porter is up to the task. Then you look at these safeties, like I said in the beginning there, when we started talking about the defense. They are going to be able to do things that are exotic and eccentric. When you play 3 safety sets, yes, 3 safety sets, I think it's imperative for the Steelers to do that, to control the Buffalo pass game in terms of controlling the tight ends. You have Kincaid and Dawson Knox. You have to control them, and that's what I'm most concerned about if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're playing the Buffalo Bills on offense right now. I think minus Gabe Davis, they're going to have a tough time if you can take out the tight ends. And I think when you play 3 safety looks a lot, I think you're able to drop safeties down, move safeties out. I think you're going to be able to confuse Josh Allen slightly in order to control that tight end a little bit, those tight ends a little bit. I think also, when you're playing those 3 safety tight ends, you drop some down in the box. You drop 1 or 2 of them down in the box to play tight coverage against the tight ends. You have the ability to blitz with those players that are speedy, that have the ability to cut and move and get away from the linemen and make a nice move on them to be able to get to Josh Allen. So I like that element. Also, you have a speedy guy that is able to kind of keep a speed, like a quarterback spy type of deal on Josh Allen and be able to see where he's going and possibly run him down and keep him going east and west instead of north and south, because he's a guy that can run up the middle easily. Also, I think the 3 safety sets will allow the inside linebacker play to be a little bit less exposed at times. I know you've gotten excellent play from Miles Jack, and Landon Roberts is back, but let's face it, Landon Roberts is mostly a run guy. He can stop the run well. Does he struggle in the pass game? At times, here and there. Is he a coverage guy all the time? No, but he can do it. Miles Jack has proven that he can do it pretty well right now, too. He's been very good in his last 2-3 games here that he's been in since he's came back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I like having those safeties as extra help. I like having them out there because they are just that, tight end controlling type players. And that takes the pressure off of that inside linebacking crew to where they can focus on coming downhill and doing what they do best, being run thumpers. You can have Landon Roberts totally spying Josh Allen, constantly playing the run game. You can do those types of things when you have an extra safety in the game. I think it's pivotal for the Steelers. And 3 safety sets has to be something that they come out with early and often, and they need to utilize it throughout the football game. It just gives you a lot of versatility. And now if the game becomes just so run heavy, you can adjust, that's fine. But come out being different. Don't be the same Steelers. Don't be that same boring team at times. Sometimes they can get a little bit too set in their ways. So this Sunday in the playoffs, I want them to be excited and different and exotic. We've been calling for it all year, and they've been able to do it at times. But this is so important to be different. This is the most important time. And I think the Steelers, if you have any tricks left in the bag on defense, pull them out this week. Take and put them on tape. Who cares? It's the playoffs. Go for it. Do what you got to do. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, that is important there. 3 safety sets, I think, is one of the most important keys to the Steelers defense being successful. Along with the obvious, Larry Ogunjobi, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, controlling that front. You cannot collapse. You cannot have a bad game against Buffalo. If they have a bad game, it's going to be a long day for the Pittsburgh Steelers when Buffalo runs it down their throats with Josh Allen, with Cook, doing the things that they like to do. You have to have a great game if you're that defensive front for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And those outside linebackers, minus TJ Watt, everybody thinks that is going to hurt the Steelers tremendously, which it will. It will hurt them. You cannot replace TJ. He's irreplaceable. But I think you're going to see Nick Herbig and Marcus Golden have a day. I think this is going to be a day that they truly, truly shine. And they have to be able to bookend those edges. They cannot allow Josh Allen in that run game to have the edge. They cannot allow it, because in games that are messy and sloppy, you don't want them to get out there where there's big, wide open holes and wide open spaces. You don't want to allow that. Keep everything in the middle. That's why I say Cam, Larry, and Keanu, those guys have to have a pivotal day along with those inside linebackers. They have to play downhill hard, and they have to win the line of scrimmage every down. They have to, in order for the Steelers to develop a lead and force a lot of 3-and-outs on Josh Allen. That is the most important for me. Keep Josh Allen in that pocket, guys. It's important, it's imperative, and it has to be done. Then you look at the Steelers on the offensive side of the football with a newfound excitement, a new leader, a guy that has really brought some fire to this offense, a guy that has really inspired a whole unit. And you can really see it. It's so visible, and that's special to have. And that's something different that the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't been accustomed to since a guy like Big Ben Roethlisberger. And even later in Ben's career, I found that it was hard for him to get the whole offense inspired and ready to roll. He played poorly at times when he was aging. He had great moments. He was still Ben, could still come back in the fourth quarter. But I felt it became more of a struggle for him later in his days. But I think Mason Rudolph has that energy, has that poise. And I think if he can come out, keep that stability, keep that aggressiveness, and keep that poise, I think the Steelers will be okay. And if the weather sucks, lean on Najee. And do what you did last week in Baltimore. When the opportunity arises, when you've lulled the defense to sleep with the same old shit over and over, if it's working and you're able to move the football, take a shot here and there, even in bad weather. Make them play you honest. The more honest you can make the Buffalo Bills play you, the easier it is for people like Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren to be able to have a big day. The more you do that, the more that they have to respect your pass game, it becomes different for the defense. They can't be one-dimensional. They can't load up the box in bad weather, even in bad weather. That's the thing. What you have to do on Sunday, if you're Mason Rudolph and you're the Steelers wide receiver core, short to intermediate throws, comebacks, drags, things of that nature to stay ahead of the chains are going to be a must. And there has been a weapon that has been absent since Mason Rudolph has come back into this starting role, back into the driver's seat of this offense. There's been one or two, but one big element that I would like to see incorporated. One guy that I think could make a real difference, and that is Calvin Austin. Let him go. He is a speedster. He's faster than anybody when it's dry and good and the conditions are right. He's faster than anybody out there. So it tells me in nasty, gross weather that he's going to be able to get past some defenders. He's going to be able to find some wide open spaces. And it's a guy that you haven't utilized. A guy, though, that Mason Rudolph had success with in the preseason. Why not have some success with him in the postseason? I would like to see a big chunk play to Calvin Austin, at least an attempt at it. I think in bad weather, I think he would be able to get behind that defense. And if you're able to lob one up to him when he's back behind everybody and they're trying to chase him down in bad conditions, I think you could create a big play, a big splash surprise play that would stun the Buffalo Bills and really hit them directly in the mouth. And I think it would be huge for the Steelers to do on a beautiful play action type pass, something like that. George Pickens wasn't involved last week. No targets, one run, did get a big first down. But I think this week you're going to have to find some ways to get George Pickens the ball. He's too dynamic. He is a playmaker, and I think he has to be involved in some way. That's when I talk about the drags, the quick comebacks, the quick screens, things of that nature. Get the ball into the hands of George Pickens by any means necessary. And don't forget about Deontay Johnson, because he made big plays and he is capable. And then there's something else that we've not forgot totally, but we haven't been using if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is that tight end room. Pat Freiermuth could be your best friend this week. He could be a guy that absolutely takes over this football game. Not to mention a guy in Darnell Washington. I know he hasn't been targeted this season, but why not this Sunday? Especially in bad conditions, especially if you're going to play a lot of 13 personnel, a lot of jumbo sets. When you bring in the two tight ends and you're playing a lot of run, get out of them runs and pass the ball to guys like Darnell, big guys that are going to be tough to bring down, that nobody's going to want to hit in the cold, that he could run people over. Why not allow him to eat a little bit? Why not take and shock the Buffalo Bills by using things that you haven't used all year? Doing things that you haven't done. And I think that could be special. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you really look at them right now on offense, they have sucked for the majority of the year. But under Mason Rudolph, they have a new excitement. And why not now? If you look at this offense as a whole, can't they start utilizing all their weapons? Mason has been starting to chip away, starting to incorporate more guys, getting the ball spread around a little bit. But man, think about it, guys. They're loaded up with people that they could use. I'm forgetting about Connor Hayward. I'm forgetting about Jalen out of the backfield. I'm forgetting about Darnell Washington when I talk about this team a lot. Why not incorporate them? Get things looking different. That is the theme of this Sunday. That has to be the theme going forward inside the playoffs. Be different. Be different and aggressive. Those are the two biggest keys for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this football game. And if you're Mason Rudolph, you're playing for a contract. Let's face it, you're playing to get paid. You want to be paid? Don't be stupid with the football. Don't play outside of your scope. Don't try to be different than who you are. Be aggressive and smart. Do what you do. Work within what you're all about. Don't get outside of who you are. That's just the key for Mason. Don't try to be the hero. You don't have to be. You'll be the hero at the end if you facilitate the football to all your playmakers and they make plays and win this football game, and you're marching on into the Baltimore M&T Bank Stadium to face the number 1 seed Ravens with a first ever number 7 seed victory against the 2. So again, guys, let's wrap this up. Why not the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why can't it be now? I don't see any reason why it can't be now. I don't see any reason that the Pittsburgh Steelers can't go into Orchard Park and can't come away with a W. I don't see any reason why not. I know the odds are stacked against them. I know everybody's picked against them. I'm one of the people that picked against them. But I think there is a very strong chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers could stun the world. I think that there is a very strong chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers could take this thing and make a run of it. I just think that there's something in the air in the city of Pittsburgh. I think there's something about this football team that is different. I think there's something special about this football team that we've yet to uncover and that we've yet to fully see. I think you've started to see it in the last month, but I think now that they've found the right guy, the hot hand at quarterback, they're starting to get some guys back on defense. Hopefully, TJ Watt comes back sooner than later. Hopefully, TJ can get involved in these playoffs. A guy that has never won a playoff game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Maybe get him that W and get him incorporated into some winning football late in the season and allow a guy like TJ, allow a guy like Cam to get a chance to chase that Lombardi trophy. All right, guys, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Until next time, until that big Steelers win, peace.